Welcome back, Scouts. Here's the much requested Roots video. Full disclosure, I found this to be a much easier Roots than normal, so this may be disappointing, but here we go. For starters, I've seen some newer players not realize you can climb down walls instead of having to fall off ledges. You can climb any direction on a wall, and sometimes it's much safer. Once we get down, we find a luggage, and I eat a little trail mix. I'll speed up a little bit of jumping and climbing here as nothing much happens for a minute. Up ahead, I decide to use my rescue claw to get me started up the mountain. Nighttime arrives quickly, and we burn a little oil before continuing further. I decide I don't want to wait on morning, so I burn Pandora's just to cleanse myself before climbing up. Then I use another charge from my rescue claw to skip past this fog, and I almost die in the process, but luckily the wind begins blowing in my direction. The wind can help you ascend hills easier with extra momentum. It almost blows me over the next ridge, but I cling on for dear life. After this, I don't have much stamina to progress, and I don't want to dilly-dally in the roots, so I burn a little more oil to get me moving. After a couple quick climbs up, I found two giant trees that could potentially help me scale the mountain, but I quickly realize a zombie is up here too. These can be potentially deadly in the right situations, but they're pretty easy to avoid and dodge. I start by getting the high ground above the zombie. Once the zombie has made its way into my trap, I simply sprint jump sideways and sidestep gracefully out of the way. Afterwards, I kind of felt bad, so I saluted him for his service. From here, I tried to use the tree to make my way up, but I completely whiffed the placement of a cloud fungus here that could have potentially taken me that way pretty easy. Unsure where to go after that, I decide to take a gamble, and I use my rescue claw again, and it pays off handsomely. I make my way up through a little bit of fog and get my bearings for a moment. I decide to eat my trail mix for a little extra stamina, and then I keep moving. I almost screw it up massively here, but I get lucky by standing on a small spot in this crevice while holding W. I'm able to recover enough stamina while walking on that spot to then make it up this wall. Then I make a neutral jump across to this wall and move up from there. Afterwards, I try to climb this ledge above me, but the stamina is just barely outside of my range, so I slip back down. So then, I decide to take a risk, and I use my cannon to shoot up this wall instead. One tip I do have for cannon placement is sometimes I'll change my FOV temporarily to maximum just to place the cannon. I prefer to play at 65 FOV normally for immersion, but here I don't even bother switching the FOV. I instead feel confident enough to just risk it for the biscuit. I light the fuse and hop in, making sure to look up in the direction that I'm flying, and I get lucky to land neatly on a ledge. A couple quick climbs, and I've crested a new ridge line. So I climb a nearby rock and use that to bounce on a mushroom, which I then use to carry me even further up. I work my way through a couple more sped up climbs here, and at the top I get rewarded with a new luggage. This one has a rope, milk, and first aid, and I do get blown away temporarily by the wind while trying to pick them up, but I pick it back up, and I keep climbing up a little further before I need to use my lantern for a brief moment to get my stamina back. I avoid burning too much, get up this ledge, and then it's just sprint jumping my way to the finish line. I book it initially for the campfire, but I spot scorchberries nearby and use those to buy myself a little time. However, after realizing morning will soon arrive and I'll still have more scorchberries, I go ahead and just light the campfire anyway to finish off the roots. Now, given that this run was extremely easy and didn't end up really having too many route-specific situations, I decided to include some other footage from the routes for more specific advice. First of all, make sure to glance up occasionally in the routes. Spiders are easy to avoid if you look up and you listen for the chittering noise that they make. Take advantage of the large shelf fungi you'll see on the walls to climb upward. You can usually tuck yourself pretty neatly in between the layers of them. Red and yellow shroom berries generally give positive effects. In this case, it gives me a milk buff in this clip. Now, zombies aren't too tough to dodge if you keep moving, and if you get them to lunge at you enough times, they actually can even die. And if all of that doesn't get you through the roots, you could still try just doing the cannon glitch. Just stick your backpack into the cannon, light the fuse and stand on top of it, and you'll skip the biome entirely. Now, you'll either need to do the fall damage glitch on your way down, or you could potentially use milk or a rescue claw to save yourself some other way. And that's going to do it for the roots. Next up is the Alpine. Check back soon for that video, and stay safe out there, Scouts.